The courts are fighting it. The generals are warning against it. The students are being arrested for distributing flyers about it. MPs are sitting past midnight resisting it. A billboard was set on fire. Pamphlets appeared inside 6 military barracks simultaneously. And a retired general has put it in writing that Chiwenga is Zimbabwe's next president. Full stop. 2028. And through all of it, the man at the center of this entire storm has said almost nothing. Constantino Chiwenga, Vice President of Zimbabwe, former commander of the Defense Forces, the man who removed the president in 2017, has been watching, listening, and staying almost completely silent. That silence is not weakness. That silence is the most calculated political strategy in Zimbabwe right now. And today, we are going to explain exactly why. Political analyst Mukonza has described Chiwenga's silence as quite telling, suggesting it may indicate his position while warning that internal tensions could soon come to a head. There will come a time when these factions have to confront each other, Mukonza said. This cannot remain a game of hide and seek indefinitely. Hide and seek. That is exactly what this is. And Chiwenga is the one doing the hiding. Deliberately, patiently, with the discipline of a man who has spent his entire life understanding that in Zimbabwean politics, the person who speaks too early loses. Let us go back to November 2017, because everything about Chiwenga's current silence makes sense when you understand how he operates. Before the tanks moved, before the televised military statement, before Mugabe was sitting in a chair being told his presidency was over, there was silence. Chiwenga did not announce what was coming. He did not give press conferences. He did not publicly outline his grievances for weeks before acting. He gathered, he planned, he positioned, and then he moved once, decisively, without warning. That is the Chiwenga playbook. And those who understand it are watching his silence now, not as inaction, but as preparation. Chiwenga's public pronouncements, such as his recent biblical warning in church about King Hezekiah and extra years, are therefore not isolated incidents, but rather strategic interventions in an ongoing power struggle. Every word he chooses to say publicly is calibrated. Every appearance is deliberate. And every moment of silence between those appearances carries its own message. Think about what speaking too directly would cost him right now. The phrase "move on Chiwenga" has become shorthand for a coordinated strategy by Mnangagwa's loyalists to systematically diminish the vice president's influence within both the military and the party. Central intelligence officers are reportedly monitoring Chiwenga's secret meetings with army generals. He is being watched. His phone may be compromised. His allies are under surveillance. His wife was reassigned from military intelligence. Every public statement he makes is immediately analyzed, weaponized, and used by Mnangagwa's faction to build a case against him. So what does a man do when he is being watched this closely? He lets other people speak for him. And that is the genius of what Chiwenga has engineered. Look at who has been speaking loudly, publicly, on the record, while Chiwenga stays quiet. Retired Air Marshal Henry Muchena, retired Lieutenant General Winston Sigauke Mapuranga, war veterans Ruben Zulu, Godfrey Gurira, Shurai Nyamangodo, the Constitution Defenders Forum, the Zimbabwe Constitutional Movement, opposition MPs, Mushoriwa, Hat Shwayo, Mambipiri, Zvaipa, Old fault lines are re-emerging within ZANU-PF as supporters of Mnangagwa push for a term extension, clashing with opponents of CAB3 who are widely seen as aligned with Vice President Chiwenga. The divisions came into sharper focus as Parliament opened debate on the proposed law, following a statement by former military commanders warning against the alienation of citizens from the constitutional order. Chiwenga did not write that statement, but it speaks for him. Every retired general who stands at a podium and demands a referendum is carrying a message that Chiwenga cannot safely deliver himself. Every war veteran who files a court application challenging Mnangagwa's role in cabinet is making an argument that Chiwenga's own lawyers cannot make without triggering a treason charge. The internal resistance to CAB3 is largely invisible, with MPs keeping their heads down to avoid preemptive purges. The pro-amendment camp's only weapon is the blunt instrument of the party whipping system. They must force an open vote so they can identify, isolate, and politically liquidate anyone who dares to dissent. And Chiwenga, the man at the center of all of this, stays quiet. Lets the generals speak. Lets the lawyers argue. Lets the war veterans go to the Concord. Lets the students march. Lets the billboard burn. And watches Mnangagwa spend his political capital suppressing every one of them. Because here is the strategic calculation that Chiwenga is making. And it is cold, and it is brilliant, and it is ruthless. Every time Mnangagwa arrests a student for distributing CAB3 flyers, he loses public support. Every time a ZANU-PF official brags about buying MPs with $50,000 each, he loses moral authority. Every time ghost statistics are exposed, every time a Concord judge quietly acknowledges that a referendum should probably have been held, every time an MP is forced to vote in public against his own conscience, Mnangagwa wins the vote and loses Zimbabwe. A Mnangagwa ally has already warned publicly that CAB3 opponents within ZANU-PF face purging once the bill is finalized. Chad Zamira told a meeting, "Some of you are like bats. You stand with us in daylight, but at night you whisper in code. You hold endless meetings in homes and hotels. Nothing escapes me. Nothing escapes me. The threat of a man who knows the dissent is there, but cannot fully see it, cannot fully contain it, cannot fully name it, because the face of it is staying silent." And here is the layer of this story that makes everything click into place. CAB3 is seen as an instrument being used by Mnangagwa's loyalists to remove Chiwenga from the succession equation and weaken the ability of the military to stage a coup. Coup-proofing, that is what political scientists call it. Leaders who are afraid of being removed by their own militaries design legislative and constitutional changes specifically to reduce the military's ability to act. They reshuffle commanders, they promote loyalists, they create new oversight structures, they pass laws that criminalize certain kinds of political activity. CAB3 is in part a coup-proofing exercise. It is Mnangagwa trying to close the door that Chiwenga used in 2017. But here is the problem with coup-proofing. It only works if the man you are trying to neutralize does not know you are doing it. Chiwenga knows. He has known since September 2025 when he submitted his dossier to the Politburo. He has watched every reshuffle, every appointment, every clause of CAB3 landing like a locked door in front of his future. And he has said almost nothing publicly. Because a man who knows the doors are being locked does not announce that he is looking for the key. There will be a boiling point, And when that happens, it could negatively affect elements of the current ruling elite, including influential actors outside formal government structures, analyst Mukonza warned. Even so, any shift is likely to occur within the framework of continued ZANU-PF dominance. Within the framework of ZANU-PF dominance. Not from outside, not from the opposition, not from a street uprising or an international intervention. From inside, from the men who built this system, who know every lever and every weakness and every precedent. The parallels to 2017 are impossible to ignore. Back then, General Constantino Chiwenga warned that the military would intervene to stop the purging of war veterans. Today, Chiwenga is widely believed to lead the faction most opposed to CAB3, viewing it as a betrayal of the transition agreement that brought Mnangagwa to power. He has done this before. He knows the steps. He knows the timing. He knows what a general's warning sounds like. Right before the warning stops being just words, Chiwenga watched CAB3 get tabled. He watched the Concord dismiss the war veterans' challenge. He watched his allies get surveilled, reshuffled, sidelined, and warned. He watched Mnangagwa spend $31 million buying the votes of parliament's members. He watched the show of hands replace the secret ballot, and he said almost nothing. Chiwenga's silence was quite telling, the analyst said. This cannot remain a game of hide and seek indefinitely. He is right. The silence will end. The question is not whether Chiwenga will speak. The question is what language he will use when he does. In 2017, he used tanks. And the man who once told Zimbabwe that what was happening was not a coup is now the man watching another president decide that the rules do not apply to him. The silence is not the end of the story. It is the part just before it begins. And in Zimbabwe, the quiet before the storm has always been the most dangerous sound of all.